Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Star Wars 1/6 scale figure unboxing and retro review. That's right, today we're taking a step back in time and checking out my favourite Darth Vader figure ever. That's the version from Rogue One. Now unfortunately he is long since sold out, and I personally didn't love my original review, so I thought, why not get him back out here and do a new one? If you do like seeing brand new Hot Toys unboxing and review videos, plus retro ones, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon, plus the join button for more info on Justin's Collection plus the channel membership. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. As for the box art, it's classic Hot Toys Star Wars. An image of the figure himself front and center, the wraparound banner that actually started with the Rogue One line, done in a very fitting red and black. On the back of the box, all of the warnings and legal info. On the inside though is where you're going to find the more visually striking artwork. That is the figure himself front and center, the Death Star wall, a hover tank, some stormtroopers, and some TIE strikers. There is a lot going on, but I really like that image. I still remember back in the day when this guy was announced, people weren't very happy. They were saying, we just got the A New Hope version, he came with sound effects and a light-up lightsaber. This guy is a much more stripped-back release. Hard pass. Now, I reckon those same people are regretting that decision because I was one of them. Back in the day, I didn't want to pick this guy up, but something in the back of my mind said, Justin, go ahead and grab him. And I am so very glad I did. Back in the day, this guy was fantastic, and I still think he is. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Here we have almost all the parts and pieces. We do still have to look at the diorama backdrop, and we will do that in just a second. Starting off with the display base first, the main body of it is just the regular rectangular style base. We do have Star Wars and Darth Vader on a beautiful etched metal nameplate, then two different base toppers. One that's an Imperial logo with the Death Star and an image of Darth Vader's helmet, or if you don't fancy that, just like I don't, you can opt for some Imperial flooring. Relatively simple, but it gets the job done. You also have this weird piece that can slot on the front around the nameplate. I've never seen a use for these, and to this day, I've never once used one of these in the display. Up top, you do just have a regular crotch grabber. For his only real accessory, which did spark a lot of debate, we do have his lightsaber, and I love it. We've seen a bunch of Darth Vader hilts, and this one is very nicely sculpted. The silver is suitably metallic, all of the little details are picked out in paint, and the blade is a little bit more red than modern-day Darth Vader figures. You can also remove the blade so it can hang on his belt, which you will see a little bit later in the video. Lastly, you do get a full array of gloved hands, and they look absolutely stunning. There's a ton of leather grain texture on the surface, there's wrinkling and ribbing detail on the back. They do a really good job of looking like shrunk-down Darth Vader hands. In fact, these might just be the best gloved hands that I have ever seen by Hot Toys. Now, unfortunately, for as good as they look, there is a drawback. When you go to install these on the figure, you have to install the wrist peg blind. You have to kind of just force it in and hope that it will magically connect up to the port. I was hoping that they'd include wrist pegs with every single one of the gloved hands, but of course, that's not really Hot Toys style even to this day. As promised, here we have the cardboard backdrop, and it's done in the exact same way, the same construction as all of the other Hot Toys cardboard backdrops. Except this time it's printed on both sides. I'm pretty sure this was the first and only time they ever did that, but it worked really nicely. On one side we have this red blueprint for the Death Star kind of ominously looming in the background, whereas on the other we have a Death Star wall. It's something that I am really tempted to use in the display. It just adds that little bit of extra oomph in the collection. What we are going to do now though is put Darth Vader himself on the turntable and take a closer look. Here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And this guy looks very, very mean, which is perfect for Darth Vader. He cuts a very good silhouette, the outfit hugs the body perfectly, and everything looks in proportion. It's quite funny that in hindsight, some of the reasons why people didn't like this Vader are actually some of the reasons why I really do. He doesn't have any gimmicks. There's no light up lightsaber arm, which, let's be honest, you're not going to use anyway. He doesn't have LEDs in the chest box, and there isn't a soundboard. But that means it's, as I said, back to basics. It's a super simple, very realistic, very well proportioned Darth Vader, which is exactly what I wanted. It goes back to why are you collecting? If you're collecting for the gimmicks, Hot Toys have shown that they like to include a few every now and then, but their key core focus is always realism. And that's exactly what we got with this guy. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him up close and personal. Now that you all know my favourite version of Darth Vader in 1/6 scale, it's this guy, I am curious which is yours. Do let me know down below. Starting off with the helmet, it is absolutely stunning. It feels like a blend between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and luckily I love both of those Vader designs and both of those movies. So this absolutely works for me. You've got the glossy dome section like Revenge of the Sith, you have the black tusk like A New Hope, and the mismatched colours on the front faceplate. One side is gunmetal and the other is gloss black. The reason they did that is because cameras back in the day weren't as great at capturing detail as they are now. I'm of course talking about the 70s for A New Hope, so they decided to mix the colours up to kind of trick the eye into seeing more detail, even though it was always fully sculpted there. And that works just as well in 1/6 scale. It's not something that people are super aware of, but trust me, take a look at your Vader, it's absolutely there. The eyes are a little bit red. It's not coming across on camera, but in person, it's a lot more obvious. The cape is a really nice heavy black fabric and it drapes beautifully. You also have the chain tucked up underneath the helmet. You could technically pull it down to reveal it, but for me I like to push it up because that's just a little bit more accurate. You also have the armor. Previously I have actually removed the armor and slotted it underneath his tunic, which does make it more faithful to A New Hope. Now this still absolutely works and it's how he comes out of the box. It's all down to personal preference. You also have some moving shoulder pads, so when it comes to articulation, yeah, they can move up and out of the way. The undersuit is all made of ribbed and stitched pleather. Now luckily mine has fared the test of time so far, it hasn't peeled or flaked or cracked, but we will have to wait and see how much longer this is going to last. Because, as we know, pleather is pleather, and pleather flakes. Up front we do have his chest box. Unfortunately this doesn't light up, but it is movable so you can adjust it up and down. The tunic is all made of fabric just like the cape, and it's the same exact material, so it drapes, you guessed it, beautifully. I do have his lightsaber on his belt hook, and it does sit on rather securely, as long as you're not jostling around Vader too much in the display. His belt boxes do light up, and they do have some chipping and weathering on the surface. The same thing can be said for this front belt buckle, and it looks really good. The circle is painted in gunmetal, then there is some silver dry brushing around the edges. The cod piece I'm fairly certain was new to Rogue One, and it is very big. It does look as though it's made of pleather, but it isn't. It's fully sculpted. All of those wrinkles are pre-sculpted in, and they look very good. Coming down to the legs, once again the pleathery undersuit, which looks great, but I'm really worried if it's going to survive or not. Then we have his boots. The front guards are velcroed onto the front. They're done in a super high gloss black. Then the boots themselves are also pleather, which means you are going to get a maximum range of motion. But once again, it does run the risk of flaking over time. So far, he has survived, and for that, yeah, I'm pretty darn thankful, because as I've said a couple of times already, this guy is my favorite Vader. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have what are in my opinion the two best options for a 1/6 scale Vader. On the left, Rogue One, on the right, Empire. A lot of people absolutely love Empire, and I don't fault you, it's a really good figure. But something about the shape of the eyes throws me off just a little. It is accurate, so I've been told, but I just prefer the Rogue One helmet. I also like the green and red buttons on the chest box, plus the shape and size of it. And Rogue One Vader is a little bit taller. I like having a big imposing Vader in the display. Empire will still do that. But as you can see, Rogue One is just that little bit taller. Just going over articulation. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, or if you already have one, you can push the joints slightly further than I am willing to go. Starting off with the helmet, there is a ball joint tucked up underneath. Looking forward and back, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there. They will go forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow that does get you past 90, and then a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg inside his rubbery gloves. You do have a crunch forward and back at the torso, swivel and pivot side to side. The legs will go forward to there, they will go out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee that does get you just past 90, and then a double ball peg down here for the ankle. Just wrapping up on Hot Toys Rogue One Darth Vader. Going into this, I told you all this is my favorite Vader, and I stick by that. He absolutely is. It's a back to basics, super realistic but relatively simple release, but they nailed it. This is exactly why I collect Hot Toys figures. They know what they're doing, and this, in my mind, is still the ultimate Vader. I don't like using the P word, but I'm going to use it here. This guy is perfect for me. He does all of the key things really well. The articulation is great. The gloves were a brand new sculpt as compared to A New Hope, which were kind of awful. The helmet is stunning and really accurate. Plus, the undersuit, on mine at least, is still intact. I would have loved an actual leather suit that would have set him way over the top, but for now, this guy is still the Darth Vader king in my collection. Will there be one from Kenobi that could potentially challenge him? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, yeah, I'm really glad I decided to pick this guy up. Unfortunately, he is long since sold out, so your best bet is on the aftermarket. And he does fetch a pretty penny. But if you want the best 1/6 scale Darth Vader, I think you're looking at it right here. I could be biased just because this is my favorite design, but you can see how good he looks, and you can make up your own opinion. Do let me know once again which is your favorite Vader down in the comments below. If you are heading down there, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as a brand new or a retro review goes live on the channel. Also check out the join button for more info on Justin's Collection Plus if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.